Just as I suspected. Nobody's in here.
For a show built on a wildly impractical idea, 3 guys raising 3 girls under one San Francisco roof, Full House somehow felt like the most normal place on TV. Week after week, the Tanner home became a kind of sitcom sanctuary. Soft lighting, that familiar staircase, and a reset button that always landed on hugs. But beneath all that heart, the series was sneakily experimental. It smuggled stand-up sensibilities into a family format, built a small universe of crossovers, and turned real-life constraints, like child labor limits, into clever production tricks that viewers never saw coming. The result? A show that taught a generation to say, "Cut it out. You got it, dude," and "have mercy," while quietly rewriting the rules for how a Friday night sitcom could be made and marketed. The story of Full House isn't just the story of the Tanners. It's the story of TV learning to blend sincerity with winking self-awareness, of network notes birthing iconic characters, and of a theme song so sticky it basically moved in and started paying rent. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the deep cuts. The unaired pilot with a different dad, the dog who went Hollywood, the TGIF multiverse, and the tiny name changes that had big cultural echoes. If you loved this show, or even just lived near a VHS tape in the 90s, there's something here that'll surprise you. If nostalgic TV rabbit holes are your thing, like and subscribe. Alright, let's head up those painted but not really painted lady steps and start the countdown. 15. The unaired pilot didn't star Bob Saget. Full House almost launched with a different Danny Tanner. In the original pilot, John Posey, an experienced actor with great timing, played the neat freak morning host and single dad. The pilot worked on paper, but the creative team had written the role with Bob Saget's dry warmth in mind. When Saget's availability opened up, the producers made a gutsy and expensive call: reshoot the pilot, scene for scene, with Saget. It wasn't just a swap, it was a tone correction. Saget's soft sarcasm balanced the show's sweetness, grounding big awe moments with a wink that kept the syrup from spilling over. If you watch early season 1 closely, you can feel the show finding Saget's gear. Jokes land a half-beat drier, his reactions get more micro-expressive, and the family's rhythm tightens. Recasting a lead after a pilot is risky. Audiences can smell uncertainty, but the decision defined the series. With Saget in place, Danny's obsessive tidiness never felt cartoony. It felt like a coping mechanism for a widower learning to rebuild. That emotional undertow is why Full House could pivot from pratfalls to piano bench heart-to-hearts without losing you. The switch didn't just change a face, it changed the show's emotional baseline. 14. Uncle Jesse's last name changed mid-show. In Season 1, Uncle Jesse's surname is Cochran. By Season 2, he's Jesse Katsopoulos. That's not a continuity error. It's a quiet act of character ownership. John Stamos, proud of his Greek heritage, suggested the change, and the writers embraced it. It's rare for a sitcom to retcon a name so early and so cleanly, but Full House folded it in with a shrug and moved on, as if the family had always known. The shift did more than scratch a personal itch. It gave Jesse texture. Suddenly, his Elvis obsession, his easy charm, and those family-centric instincts felt rooted in something specific. Even small details, like a throwaway line about family recipes or a relative, land differently with Katsopoulos on the call sheet. It's a reminder that TV characters are living negotiations between actor and script, and sometimes the most authentic choices come from the performer who has to wear them for 8 seasons. What's wild is how seamlessly audiences accepted it. No very special episode, no winking meta joke, just a new name that made the character feel more true. In an era before binge watchers caught every change, Full House trusted viewers to go with the flow, and they did without missing a beat. 13. Michelle was credited like one person on purpose. You knew the role of Michelle was shared by twins, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, but early credits tried to keep that mystery going. Instead of listing both girls, some episodes used the blended credit Mary Kate Ashley Olsen, which reads like one impossibly named child star. It wasn't a prank so much as a production strategy. By treating Michelle as a single on-screen entity, the show sidestepped drawing attention to the twin switch while working within the strict limits of child labor laws. Behind the scenes, the twin handoff became a rhythm. When one baby got fussy or tired, the other would tag in, keeping scenes moving and costs down. Directors learned to protect the illusion with coverage, close-ups for reaction, wide shots for action, minimal back-to-back angles that could expose tiny differences. The fact that viewers bonded so strongly with Michelle is a tribute to how well the crew and the Olsens executed the magic trick. As the twins got older and more famous, the show leaned into their dual stardom with merch, appearances, and eventually distinct credits. But those early episodes are a time capsule of TV sleight of hand, a single character loved by millions, played by two performers who would grow into a pop culture empire. 12. Comet the dog became a movie star. Comet wasn't just the family dog, he was a stealth audition tape. The golden retriever who charmed his way through Tanner family B-plots later headlined as Buddy in the film Air Bud, kicking off a whole franchise of sports-playing canines. On Full House, Comet did more than hit marks. He acted, responding to emotional beats, nailing eye lines, and stealing scenes with those endearingly lopsided head tilts. That's not accidental. Animal trainers on set built routines around rhythm and repetition, the same way actors build beats into a scene. Comet's graduation to film proves how TV can become a proving ground. The dog's reliability with kids, his comfort under hot lights, and his ability to sell a reaction shot made him a casting director's dream. Watch reruns, and you'll notice the writers slowly upping the dog's story value. Fetch quests become plot devices. A lost and found gag becomes a mini heart squeeze. By the time Air Bud rolled around, audiences already saw Comet as a star. There's something perfectly Full House about it too. A supporting player gets a bigger stage, and everyone cheers. Comet's arc is the canine version of the show's ethos. Work hard, be lovable, and eventually you get your own highlight reel. 11. The Tanner house exterior isn't a painted lady. The opening credits glide past the famous painted ladies at Alamo Square, which basically branded those Victorian homes as the Tanners' neighborhood. But the exterior used for the family's house was filmed at a different San Francisco address for establishing shots. The interior? Pure soundstage in Burbank. In other words, the Tanner home is a composite, a postcard montage stitched to a meticulously built set that felt so lived in you could find the bathroom in the dark. This bait and switch is sitcom standard practice, but Full House made it iconic. The directors leaned on establishing footage to sell the San Francisco vibe. Cable cars, the bridge, those pastel rows, then cut to a set where the camera could dance. Kids tromping down the stairs, Joey popping out of the alcove, Jesse sliding onto the couch with a guitar. The house was designed for emotional geography, not architectural accuracy. You always knew where the hugs happened, where the dad talk landed, and where a door slam would punctuate a punchline. It's a reminder that TV homes aren't real addresses. They're carefully mapped feelings. Full House turned a patchwork of city shots and lumber into one of the most instantly recognizable homes in TV history, even if you couldn't really park out front. 10. The show was pitched as House of Comics. Before it was a family series, the pitch was basically 3 stand-up comics become roommates. The working idea, House of Comics, would have leaned harder into club material and comic-to-comic banter. ABC liked the chemistry, but nudged the concept toward a family show with a sentimental spine. That note changed everything. It recast jokes as coping mechanisms, transformed punchlines into parenting tools, and made the show safe for the powerhouse TGIF block to build around. What's fascinating is how much of the original DNA remained. Joey still runs bits, Danny still riffs with a broadcaster's timing, and Jesse's rock and roll swagger plays like a comic's persona dialed into domestic life. The show found a middle path: keep the performative energy, but give it stakes any kid could understand. Spilled paint isn't just a gag, it's a lesson about responsibility. A roast becomes a hug with better lighting. In a way, Full House smuggled stand-up structure into family TV. Setup, escalation, lesson, tag. The network note didn't kill the comedy. It widened the audience without losing the rhythm. That's why the laughs feel warm rather than sharp, and why the show aged into comfort food without losing its snap. 9. Urkel dropped by. Yes, really. The 90s had a secret. TGIF wasn't just a lineup, it was a shared universe. Case in point, Jaleel White's Steve Urkel crashes Full House in the episode Stephanie Gets Framed. On paper, it's a one-off gimmick, a nerdy neighbor from Chicago helping Stephanie with glasses. But in practice, it made the ABC block feel connected. Kids didn't think in terms of networks and lead-ins. They felt like their Friday friends lived in neighboring zip codes of the same TV city. Urkel's appearance also underscores how character brands traveled. He wasn't just a guest. He brought his physics-defying chaos, his catchphrases, and a kind of cartoon logic that Full House could bend around for a single story. The writers smartly kept the visit grounded in Stephanie's insecurity, so the crossover served character first, synergy second. That balance is why it works, and why you remember it. The visit hints at an early version of what we now call IP crossover strategy. Before cinematic universes were boardroom mandates, TGIF was quietly letting characters drift across shows like comic book heroes stepping through a portal. It made Fridays feel special, and made kids wonder who might ring the doorbell next week. 8. The Beach Boys were practically recurring. Few guest stars felt as organic as the Beach Boys. Their drop-ins weren't just stunt bookings. They grew out of a real-life friendship with John Stamos, who actually performed with the band. That off-screen relationship gave on-screen moments an easy authenticity. When Jesse jumps behind the kit or harmonizes on Kokomo, it doesn't play as a cameo. It plays as his other life peeking through. The band's presence also widened the show's age bandwidth. Parents recognized the legends. Kids got to see Uncle Jesse's rock star fantasy validated by the real deal. Musically, those episodes became little concerts, letting Full House flex as a variety show for a few minutes without breaking character. The Beach Boys didn't just wave from the stage. They hung out in the Tanner world, joked with the kids, and folded into the show's family-first vibe. It was savvy branding too. The episodes doubled as soft promos for tours and records, while gifting the series cultural credibility. In a landscape where sitcoms could feel sealed in a studio bubble, the Beach Boys made Full House feel plugged into the wider world. Sunny, surfy, and just earnest enough to fit right in with the house that Hugs built. 7. Jodie Sweetin's teeth, a production puzzle. Childhood doesn't wait for your shooting schedule. When Jodie Sweetin lost her front teeth, like every kid does, production had to work around it. Sometimes the show folded it into Stephanie's plotlines. Sometimes directors cheated angles, shortened smiles, or staged scenes to keep continuity consistent across episodes that didn't air in the order they were shot. It sounds tiny, but on a network sitcom, minor appearance changes can turn post-production into a game of Tetris. The crew's solution was textbook TV craftsmanship. Coverage, coverage, coverage. If the master didn't match, they'd lean on close-ups from a different day or cut away to a reaction from another character to smooth the seam. The goal wasn't to hide a kid being a kid. It was to make the timeline feel linear for viewers who might catch episodes out of order in syndication. What's endearing is how Full House used the reality of growing up as fuel rather than friction. Stephanie's mortifications, braces, and awkward phases weren't problems to hide. They were story engines. The Teeth Saga is a tiny window into how a weekly show raises a child on camera, with patience, clever editing, and a lot of supportive punchlines. 6. Lori Loughlin wasn't planned as a permanent fixture. Rebecca Donaldson entered as a calculated antidote to a house full of dudes. Give Danny a co-host who could banter on Wake Up, San Francisco, and add a grounded adult presence at home. The plan wasn't long-term love interest, marriage, twins, and a move into the attic. But chemistry doesn't read memos. Laughlin's Becky clicked with Stamos' Jesse and with the girls. She added a blend of warmth and no-nonsense that sharpened family stories without souring them. Audiences responded, so the writers pivoted. In classic TV fashion, a short-term character grew tendrils, first recurring, then regular, then essential. Becky changed the show's traffic patterns. Now, there were 2 adult talks to give, 2 parenting styles to balance, and new corners of the house to explore. She made the world feel bigger, and the problems feel more real, especially when plots touched on career, marriage, or the chaos of newborns in an already crowded home. It's a reminder that sitcoms are living organisms. You plan a pilot, you discover a family, and when an actor fits that family like a missing puzzle piece, the smartest move is the simplest. Keep them at the table and start writing meals they can help cook. 5. Have mercy wasn't a boardroom invention. Catchphrases can feel engineered, but have mercy bubbled up from John Stamos' performance. It started as a tossed-off button, a rock and roll sigh that punctuated a joke or a flirt. The audience laughed, the writers heard the music, and suddenly Jesse had a signature that could flex. Romantic exaggeration one week, comic exasperation the next. The line became a pressure valve. Release the tension, cue the grin, roll credits. What's notable is how the show deployed it. Full House wasn't a punchline machine. It prioritized story beats and emotional closure. Have Mercy worked because it was seasoning, not the meal. When you hear it, you're not just recognizing a brand. You're clocking that Jesse is fully himself in that moment, strutting, swooning, or surrendering to the chaos of the Tanner circus. In the 90s, catchphrases were sitcom currency, but the best ones mapped to character psychology. You got it, dude, signals Michelle's plucky confidence. Cut it out, marks Joey's man-child shtick. And have mercy is Jesse's velvet jacket heartbeat. A little vain, a lot lovable, exactly the kind of refrain that follows you out of the living room and into the school hallway on Monday morning. 4. The theme song has a hidden history. Everywhere You Look, sung by Jesse Frederick, is more than an earworm. It's the TGIF thesis statement set to music. The songwriting team behind it, Frederick with longtime collaborators, built a portfolio of TV themes that defined the era, and Full House is their crown jewel. Across the run, the mix and arrangement evolved. Trims for time, alternate intros, and those slightly different vocal emphases that superfans can spot in 2 notes. Theme songs do more than brand a show. They set audience posture. Full House's theme told you exactly how to sit. Chin up, shoulders down, heart open. That's why it could withstand edits as the series aged. Even when the visuals changed, kids taller, hair bigger, San Francisco sunnier, the emotional promise stayed the same. Wherever life's messy, this family has a light on. There's also a meta joke baked in. The lyrics describe a drifting, busy world that only snaps into focus when you come home, right as the credits park you in a living room where problems have endings. In an era of skip buttons, the Full House theme remains one of the rare openers people still let play, because it's not just a song. It's the show, tuning your feelings before the first line lands. 3. A season 9 almost happened on another network. When ABC ended Full House after 8 seasons, that could have been it. But the WB sniffed an opportunity and explored a rescue move. Network jumps were rarer then, and the logistics were gnarly. Salaries rising, cast schedules diverging, creative control shifting. For a family show already deep into syndication gold, the cost-benefit math got complicated fast. Talks flickered, fans hoped, and then the trail went cold. What makes this near miss interesting is how it reframes the finale. The last episode plays like a proper goodbye, but it wasn't written as a guaranteed series ender until late in the game. You can feel the tension. It's sentimental, but not self-eulogizing. It closes arcs without slamming doors. That tone let the show live comfortably in reruns and left space for eventual returns. In hindsight, the almost season 9 is like a ghost limb. You sense the shape of stories that might have been more teen years, more attic chaos, more wake-up antics, without the risk of overstaying the party. And maybe that restraint helped the nostalgia age better. The Tanner house didn't lock up. It dimmed the lights, left the porch on, and waited for the right knock years later. 2. Fuller House wasn't the first revival attempt. Before Netflix made Fuller House a reality, reunion ideas circulated for years. TV movies, specials, even limited-run concepts with different character focuses. Revivals are tricky. Too much change and you alienate purists. Too little and you get a museum exhibit. What Fuller House eventually nailed was scope. Center the next generation while keeping enough of the original cast in orbit to satisfy the emotional math. The pre-Netflix pitches matter because they show how durable the premise is. The show's engine, people pooling love and labor to raise kids, works across decades, economies, and hairstyles. It's modular. You can swap rooms, move the nursery to the attic, trade a morning show for a podcast, and the core still hums. Those earlier conversations were sandpaper, smoothing an idea until it could slide into a new platform era. When the revival did land, it tapped directly into the long-marinated appetite those failed attempts created. Audience nostalgia wasn't just memory, it was unresolved momentum. Fuller House didn't feel like a random reboot. It felt like a story that had kept going off screen and finally let us back in to check on the kids, the catchphrases, and the kitchen table where the best speeches still happen. 1. Taji Mowry, real-life TV royalty. Michelle's buddy Teddy, played by Taj Mowry, is a delightful footnote with a big-screen TV lineage. Taj is the younger brother of Tia and Tamara Mowry, stars of Sister, making him part of 90s sitcom royalty. His presence on Full House is more than a cute cameo. It's a snapshot of how talent flowed through the era's kid TV ecosystem. Casting directors traded on trust. If a young actor could hit marks, deliver lines, and charm opposite a scene-stealing toddler, they'd get a second look everywhere else. Teddy also broadened Michelle's world beyond the Tanner living room. He's the friend who teaches her that loyalty's a two-way street, that sleepovers can be complicated, and that even best friends can have new best friends. Those plots gave the show a chance to talk about sharing, jealousy, and resilience without making the bigger kids carry every emotional lesson. In the meta sense, Taji's run is a tiny crossover of its own, an early thread in a tapestry of interconnected 90s families who kept showing up in each other's stories. It's fitting that in a show obsessed with making a house feel like a village, one of Michelle's closest pals came from the neighborhood next door on your TV dial. Conclusion. The magic trick of Full House is that it never looked like a magic trick. The reshot pilot, the surname retcon, the twin-powered lead, the location sleight of hand. These aren't just production curiosities. They're proof that craftsmanship and heart can share a frame. Look closely, and you see a show solving problems with empathy. A kid's tooth becomes a character beat. A guest star becomes a bridge between generations. A catchphrase becomes shorthand for who someone really is. It's easy to remember Full House as the place where problems got wrapped in 22 minutes. But the weird facts tell a more interesting story. This was a series constantly tinkering with format, with music, with the porous boundaries of a Friday night universe. It borrowed authenticity from real relationships. Hello, Beach Boys, parked its exterior in postcard San Francisco while building an interior out of pure feeling, and turned child star logistics into a legend that launched an empire. When the original run ended, the story didn't, because the premise was bigger than any one era. It was an idea built to be inherited. So what sticks? Maybe it's that a show about sharing a house ended up sharing its DNA with an entire TV generation. If any of these deep cuts surprised you, or if you've got your own, drop them in the comments. And if this stroll through TV's coziest San Francisco has you humming everywhere you look, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and we'll save you a spot on the couch for the next one.